So I want to react to this today. This is Nick Wright. We love clowning him on this channel because he says some stupid stuff. And he is an absolutely, I love Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback of all time. Blah, blah, blah. Chiefs, just goes for that narrative. Nonetheless, though, with us clowning him on the channel, today he talks about Joe Burrow's contract. And I will say what he says today isn't clown material, but I want to go ahead and react to it and give my thoughts and opinions based on what he has to say and say where I think everything is headed, because he gives a more doom and gloom type of angle. So let's go ahead and talk about it. He starts off talking about, of course, Trevor Siemian, who just got cut because Jake Browning won the starting job.
If you're a Bengals fan, and that's not a shot at Trevor, that is because it, to me, is a pretty good, sign that they believe Joe Burrow is going to be healthy for week one. That week one against the Browns, they had a veteran backup quarterback on the roster. They have cut him. Now, I do understand they can bring him back if no one else tries to sign him, and maybe they don't want to fully guarantee his salary, as you would have to do with veteran quarterbacks. I get that. But this is, to me, a pretty good sign, because they have been very tight-lipped about Joe's status, that Joe Burrow should be available for week one. And
first off, I just want to stop it right there. No, us cutting Trevor Siemian has nothing to do with Joe Burrow at all. The reason why we cut Trevor Siemian was he didn't look good in the preseason. He looked absolutely dog water. And even in training camp, he didn't look good. He missed a lot of wide open passes. He was the reason why a lot of passes were overthrown. It's nothing to do with guaranteed money of his signing or his contract, or it's nothing to do with, Joe Burrow's health. At the end of the day, we want a backup who is capable to be a backup. And I think what they saw was, well, you know what? We have Jake Browning. He looked good in preseason. We'll go ahead and put him in there. And if we find someone else in free agency, we'll just go after him after the cuts happen. So it has nothing to do with that. Again, this is what I've said before. Why I hate analysts is because they don't watch any type of preseason. And they just go based on headlines and stats and that kind of stuff. And yes, I understand that it's important to have a veteran backup. It is, right? That's 100%. But if the veteran backup is not better than a guy who, again, has been in our system the last couple years, then there's no reason to go ahead and keep Trevor Siemian.
If he's not available week one, it's close enough that they're confident he's not going to miss multiple weeks where they would need a veteran backup quarterback in there. So I think that's really good news for the Bengals, and it should be a good opportunity for Joe, as oddly as it is, Joe Burrow has had much exponentially more success against the Kansas City Chiefs, the best team in the league, than he's had against the Cleveland Browns, a Browns team that I think he's only beaten one time in his career, and he has struggled with consistently, oddly enough. And so that's good news for the Bengals. But the piece of Joe Burrow news we don't have yet that I feel...
Just a side note here, and I just want to put this out. What he's doing here is textbook. It's textbook fear-mongering to avoid Joe Burrow's contract. So what he's doing is, normally Nick Wright talks trash about us, right? That's what he normally does. He normally says, well, we're nothing compared to the Chiefs, blah, blah. He even has to put in there the Chiefs are the best team in the league. So what he's doing here is he's trying to build you up as a Bengals fan to say, hey guys, guess what? You guys are good. Joe Burrow is the best. He's going to be healthy. Everything's working out. Now let me show you why everything is going to fall down. This is textbook fear-mongering. I just want to put this out because that's exactly what he's doing. He's building you up, right, and saying, you're good, you're good, you're good, you're good, you're good, and here's why everything is bad. And it's just, I hate when analysts do this, because all this does is tries to get fans upset and scared, and you're worried, and it's all bullcrap. Half the time, none of the stuff they say actually comes true, or it's true. They just say it because they want people to click on the videos and react to them. I hate this kind of mentality.
I feel like we all expected to get, and then kind of collectively as a sports media forgot about, was where's Joe Burrow's contract extension? This offseason, we knew there were 4 quarterbacks.
Hang on, I gotta move this over because I didn't realize they're gonna show NFL clips, and you already know NFL does.
That were in line for a new deal. Lamar, and we knew that one was contentious. He could be traded. He was older than the other guys as far as draft class older, and we expected him to, either be traded or get a new deal, something. He got his first, or he got his second, because Jalen, who we knew was going to get a new deal, Jalen Hurts, Jalen's got to get his deal done. Lamar got his deal. Justin Herbert got his deal. And then the last one was the guy who, in my opinion, has accomplished the most out of the entire quartet. I know Joe doesn't have an MVP like Lamar does. I think he's accomplished the most in Joe Burrow. And there were two schools of thought on this. One was that Joe was going to take a Mahomes-esque team-friendly deal because next year they're going to have to re-sign Chase. We don't yet know what they're going to do with Higgins. I thought maybe they would trade T. Higgins for a first-round pick this offseason. They didn't. They decided to run it back. Are they going to have two super highly paid receivers in Chase and Higgins? I doubt that.
Okay, I want to go ahead and bring up this one point before we continue letting him talk. Is that starting off right away, can you tell me the difference between Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow's contracts? Let me break it down for you. So starting off right away, Lamar Jackson's contract, I love how he's trying to point at that like, well, once, Lamar got his contract, Jalen Hurts got his contract done, then Lamar got his, then Justin Herbert got his. Not exactly. So, yes, they did get in consecutive order, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you might say the teams might have been waiting a little bit for those said teams, but at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson's contract took 4 years for them to build. And the reason why it got done wasn't really because of Jalen Hurts' contract, ironically enough. It was actually because it was the day before the draft, and the Ravens were going to take a quarterback. Like, that's the facts of the matter is. They were going to take a quarterback in the first round. And they probably told Lamar, hey, listen, let's get done this contract, or we're going to take a quarterback, and guess what? You're going to have to figure it out yourself, buddy. And that's why I think it really pushed him to sign the contract. It really wasn't Jalen Hurts that, forced that upon it. And even Jalen Hurts' contract, that's really has nothing to do with any of the other contracts, in my opinion. I think Jalen Hurts just needed a contract. He got a contract. And again, we don't know how long that I don't really think that was based on like how long it took. That might have taken a short amount of time. I'm not sure how Jalen Hurts' contract got structured up. It could have taken like a week, a month, a year. I don't know. I think it actually didn't take that long because, again, you got to keep in mind, Jalen Hurts, he's not a first-round pick, right? So he's a guy that they brought in. He's looking good, and he just wants to be on the Eagles. He's not like a guy who's chasing money, really. He's just like, hey, listen, I just went to the Super Bowl. Here's your money. Done. End of story. Herbo's contract, yes, you could make the argument that they were waiting for Lamar to get paid for Herbo's contract. Maybe. I say maybe because I feel like it really came down to one simple thing, and that was the fact that, Austin Eckler, how are you going to pay Austin Eckler if you go ahead and give Herbo this big money? And I think what really delayed them was, yes, I think it was a contract, but I think it was also the Austin Eckler situation. Austin Eckler wanted to be traded. He wanted out of town because he wasn't getting a new contract. They had to figure that out before they gave Herbo his contract. So just keep that in mind. There was a couple of cogs in that system. Now you go to Joe Burrow's contract, who, again, you got to keep in mind that Lamar took 4 years to get the contract done, buddy. 4 freaking years. Herbo probably took a year and a half, 2 years. And same thing with, Jalen Hurts, I think it actually wasn't that long. But Joe Burrow, they just started contract negotiations last month. Tell me why, in your head, Nick Wright, that this contract needs to get done within milliseconds. Needs to get done before, the season does not start for like another 2.5 weeks. How is it doom and gloom now if they don't? Let me just let him talk because he gets even worse than this. I promise you that.
So maybe they're just kicking that can down the road and make the decision next year. But whatever it was, some people thought Joe was going to take a bit of a discount and to try to add more pieces around him or retain pieces, which I'd never put pressure on a guy to do, but obviously his prerogative. But if he were going to do that, that's the easiest contract in the world to get done. The team wants you to do that. You're doing them a favor. That contract would be done. The other school of thought was, no, he's just waiting for all the other quarterbacks to sign their deals, and then he will just go 5% above, the way Lamar did with Jalen and then Herbert did with Lamar, just 5% above. And if that were going to happen, why hasn't it happened?
Lordy. Okay, let's break down what he just said. So the first contract, he said, if it was team friendly, why wouldn't that contract be done? Because they've been negotiating for a month, buddy. And just because it's team friendly does not mean you don't have to work out certain contracts. I mean, listen, and I'm gonna go to the second point. If he was going Mahomes route, then why wouldn't it already be done? The reason why it's not done is because if he's going for a 10-year contract, that's not going to take them a month to do. I'm sorry, I hate to tell you this, buddy, but that's not how it works. I promise you the Mahomes contract did not take them a month to figure out. When you are breaking down a 10-year contract, signing bonuses, different structures, you have to keep in mind whenever you go into these contract negotiations, it's a back and forth. And it might be a back and forth over $1 or $2 million for a couple weeks, up to a month. It's very possible. At the end of the day, if he is taking a team-friendly deal, the Bengals might be like, hey, listen, we want this much team-friendly. He might be like, no. I want to be here. So guess what happens? They go back and forth. They keep talking. They walk away. They do whatever they're doing. They come back together. They keep negotiating. This is a process. It does not happen overnight. And honestly, it does not happen within a month. It doesn't. It could happen within 2-3 months. You never know. Again, every single player is different. The quarterback position is the hardest contract to work out, right? Because in reality, that is one player who is going to have the most percentage of your salary cap of any other player in the building, right? That's just a fact. And again, you got to keep in mind, every player is different. Yes, we know one thing. Joe does not, most likely, he does not want to just go 5% above Justin Herbert. Because I feel like if he wanted that, the Bengals probably would have gave him that. But at the end of the day, that's not what he's after. I think he's after, and I think as the time goes, which again, they're trying to get this done before the season's 2 more weeks. They could easily get this done in 2 more weeks. I think as the time goes on, you're going to see is that, yeah, it's probably a 10-year contract. I don't think it's going to be a short contract. I think it's going to be 10 years, and I think they're going to get this figured out, in the next week or two. But again, like I said, it's like, I don't understand the pressure of like, push this now. This contract's going to get done. And the point he's trying to allude to is it going to get done? Are they going to give him his money? Like, bro, it's a negotiation. Let's just listen. I don't get the perspective he's going for. The perspective he's going for is, well, you got to pay him now. You can't wait. But if they're negotiating and going back and forth and working out a contract, again, like I said, it's not one of it's. I understand that the mentality is that, and I guess his philosophy is, because Burrow is as great as he is, which he is, right? That they just go in and say, okay, right now we're just gonna lock ourselves in the room and figure out this contract and go back and forth, and then someone's gonna negotiate with a price. But that's not realistic. That's not life. Like, this is, you have to keep in mind that if he is signing a 10-year contract, right? Let's say, hypothetically, it's a 10-year contract. This is generational wealth. This is numbers that, is, yes, he's going to be team-friendly on it, but they're going to go back and forth. And you already know Mike Brown. Mike Brown has probably nothing to do with it, honestly. It would be Katie Blackburn, Duke Tobin, and Zach Taylor. But still, they're going to go back and forth on this contract. And again, even the $1 or $2 million is going to really kind of be fought for. So, it's just, I don't understand the mentality. Listen, if this was week 4, week 5, I could understand you saying, like, okay, Nick Wright, maybe you got a point. If this is week 4, week 5, maybe week 7, then I'd be like, Where's the contract? This is literally not even the season yet. The season hasn't even started. And you're trying to spew nonsense of doom and gloom that he doesn't have a contract. Listen, they're negotiating. That's a part of negotiation. So listen to the rest.
Josh Allen got one after 3 years, having not accomplished as much as Joe. Plenty of quarterbacks. This is when you sign your franchise quarterback to a new deal. And by the way, I still fully expect him to get his new deal. I just don't know why he hasn't yet. And for a Bengals team, Chase's deal, they're not allowed to sign him until next offseason. You would assume they're going to, whatever Justin Jefferson gets, Chase is going to get in that neighborhood. And then they have a decision to make on T. Higgins. There was an argument to be made that the Bengals should have traded T. Higgins this offseason, gotten a first-round pick for him, which I believe they could have, and not reset, but understood we're not going to be able to pay both Higgins and Chase.
First off, that argument to trade T is absolutely idiotic and stupid. At the end of the day, Joe did say, and again, his words, that he is confident we're going to be able to keep everybody. That means Chase, that means T. Okay? The only way we can keep T. Higgins is if Joe structures his contract around T. Higgins. That's the only way it can possibly happen. So, to say, oh, well, the smart move would be to trade away T. Higgins, that would be the dumb move. Because if Joe wants him, look what happened when the Bengals traded away TJ Houshmandzadeh when they promised Carson Palmer that they could have TJ and Chad Johnson. What happened? Carson Palmer requested a trade. And according to TJ, that was 100% because of the fact that he did not get to keep his weapons that he wanted.
Right now, they're operating as if they think they can pay both Higgins and Chase. Well, right now, Higgins, Chase, and Burrow make a combined $28 million. By this time next year, all of those guys should be making that much by themselves, and Burrow double that much by themselves. I just don't know.
Why do you think, what I don't get here is, why does he think he knows more than the Bengals? That's what I don't understand. Because clearly he doesn't. Clearly he does not know more than the Bengals, right? Because if, quote unquote, if he knew everything, then the Bengals would have traded T, right? But they didn't, because they clearly know more than you do. And clearly, again, if Joe is going to want to keep T, he's not stupid. He knows he has to structure his contract. And yeah, it's going to be a 10-year contract. And yeah, it's probably going to be structured in a way to make sure T is still on this team.
Know why this deal hasn't gotten done yet when we all assumed it was going to get done right after Herbert. If he was going to take a big discount, that would be done. If it's just Herbert plus 5%, that should be done. It's a little curious to me that Joe Burrow doesn't have his new contract yet. Here is Alex Curry.
It's not curious at all to why he doesn't have his new contract. It's probably a 10-year contract, and it takes time to negotiate and going back and forth with bonuses and structuring. Okay? It's not a thing that happens overnight. I mean, you go into the history books of football and see how many players argued over $1 or $2 million and how long they argued for that. There's players that argued a very long time for that. If he's taking a team-friendly deal, they might want a more team-friendly deal than he's willing to take, and that might end up becoming the problem. But at the end of the day, the season hasn't even started yet. Calm down, relax. It's going to get done before... Honestly, I think it probably does get done before the season. If it doesn't, then maybe week 1, week 2. It's not that crazy. Like, first off, him waiting, if anything, let's say just hypothetically speaking, it just makes the price tag go up, right? That's the facts of the matter. The longer you wait, the more the price tag goes up. But again, I think truly, if there was a them quote unquote, his point made no sense because he said he believes he's going to get the new deal, but he's like, why are they waiting? Well, the only reason they're waiting, if you believe they're going to get a new deal, is that because they're negotiating. That's it. That's the reason why they're waiting. Because no one's waiting, it's just negotiating back and forth. I don't know. Again, like I said, I don't understand it, but I don't think there's any doom or gloom. I think everything is fine, and everything's going to get figured out. And they're going to get a contract done, and Joe's going to become the new 10-year contract. And I'm sorry that Nick Wright thinks that a contract of 10 years can get done overnight. But it is what it is. Peace out, guys.